What's up guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to talk about the differences between a typical motocross style motorcycle helmet and a typical street bike motorcycle helmet. So you can see over my shoulder I've got my street bike and my motocross bike helmets sitting on my Kawasaki Ninja, and there's actually quite a bit of difference between a motocross helmet and a street bike helmet, but we're going to start off with what the similarities are, because there's just fewer similarities, I think, than there are differences. All right, so the similarities between these two helmets, they're both black, they're both brain buckets. What else? Okay, they're both certified. So the street bike helmet is an HJC, and it is SNAIL certified, and the motocross helmet is a Bell, and it is DOT certified. Here in the United States, DOT is the Department of Transportation. So those are generally the first things I look for when I'm in the market for a new helmet. Is a decent brand name, something well known, has been making helmets for a long time. It's gone through the certification process, because certifications do evolve over time, they change. I'm not going to go into that in this video. That you could make a whole video just on helmet certification, SNAIL, DOT, etc. So why Bell for the motocross? Why HJC for the street? No real reason. It was probably more to do with cost and what was on sale, what was a good deal at the time. That motocross helmet, I remember specifically, I got for under $100. It's a Bell, DOT certified. It looks good, nothing fancy, just matte black. And you know, anytime you can get a Bell certified helmet for $100, I don't know, I think that's a good deal. So I would also say the other thing that's similar is the mechanism by which these helmets protect your brain from getting jogged around too much between the outer shell and the inner styrofoam type material. They're pretty much the same. Now Bell, I think it's Bell, has some new technology in some of their motocross helmets, which is pretty interesting, and I might go for that. That might be what gets me to actually spend a lot of money on a motocross helmet. But for now, sticking with what I got, and I think that about covers the similarities. Now let's jump into the differences. All right, let's hit up the differences between this Bell motocross helmet and my HJC street bike helmet. So I think the first really big obvious differences is, one, there's no shield. There's no visor that you can pull down. Two, we've got this massive visor sticking out of the front. And I think lastly, the front of the motocross helmets kind of tend to come to a point, and there's no real surface area to mount your GoPro cameras. In fact, you've got this wire screen mesh and some foam on the other side of that provides airflow, but traps a lot of dirt, prevents dirt from getting into the rider's face, and it doesn't really do a great job of that. But that presents a issue or a difficulty as far as like mounting your GoPro. So my GoPro mount is actually here on the side, and then I use a number of different accessories to get the camera pointed facing forward at the right angle. On the street bike helmet, obviously we've got our visor, we've got our face shield here that we can pull down. There is no visor that sticks out over the top, and you've got a nice round curve that makes it a lot easier to mount your GoPro. I use my Hero 8 Black on the street bike helmet. This is just a battery pack, so I can extend the life of the camera if I go for a really long ride. So another difference is the street bike helmets have a number of options for ventilation. So we've got these little guys right here. You can open those up and get some airflow over the top of your head. And then this is also a vent that you can open and close and give you a little bit more airflow around your forehead area. I don't think, yeah, there's a vent right here as well. The motocross helmets don't really have any kind of ventilation system, and you don't really need them because you've got so much surface area open that you don't really need a ventilation system to run through the helmet. At least I don't think you do. We'll get into the goggles and why this whole area is open like this. These visors that stick way out here like that, they're good for deflecting roost. Many times as I was following a rider and we come off of a turn, we start to accelerate out, the bike in front of me might kick up some roost, dirt, rocks, whatever. I can tilt my head down like that and use the visor to kind of deflect the roost coming off the bikes in front of me. Doesn't always work 100% of the time. You are going to get roost in your face. It's going to happen. It's inevitable. I remember one time I actually got roost in my mouth. It somehow, the dirt just finds ways into the helmet. It's actually kind of amazing. Here's how I mount the Hero. Whoa, easy there, camera, easy. Here's how I mount the Hero 5 Session to my motocross helmet. So you can see the little different mechanisms. Got one right here. So I can pretty much maneuver the camera up and down and then side to side this way. The famous, I should say infamous, GoPro mic adapter, external adapter. So here's my microphone. Let's look inside. There's a bundle of wires. That's the excess wire for the microphone. And it's actually, there's the mic right there. It just runs underneath the cheek pad and just sticks right out in front of the bundle of the wire that I've just duct taped and blocked off that front vent. So that's the GoPro Hero 5 setup I have on the motocross bike, or the motocross helmet I should say. Up top I've got a mount. I usually run my Hero 2 facing out the back so I can get rear footage as I either pass somebody or I get passed by somebody. I can capture that footage and I can get them coming up behind me and then passing me through the front camera, or vice versa. If I'm passing somebody, I can catch them from the front and then show the footage coming out of the back. Last big difference between street bike helmet and the motocross helmet are the goggle system. So, the reason why I love the word "so," I gotta stop that. The main reason for using a goggle system like this versus the big visor that you can just kind of fold down, shield, I don't know what you want to call it. It has to do with roost. So these goggles, and pretty much all goggles, have this nice soft foam material, and that creates a nice seal on your face. So you have a really good chance of not getting any dirt inside these goggles, because once you pull this strap nice and tight around the helmet, that foam is just going to help keep any dirt from affecting your vision, getting inside your goggles. Now that said, I have had like this little speck of dirt more than once over the years somehow find its way in here, and then it's like bouncing around as you're going up jumps. The dirt flies up into your face, and you kind of close your eyes as you go up into the air so that the dirt doesn't get into your eye. That kind of sucks, because if that happens in a race, you're stuck, you're screwed. In practice session, you just kind of pull over, pull your goggles off, shake them out, and then put your goggles back on, and away you go. But if it happens during a race, that stinks. So I have heard of, I've never done this myself, but I have heard of other riders actually lining the foam here with a little bit of like oil, not like motor oil, but like baby oil or grease. And then that just helps prevent or helps trap any dirt from sneaking past the foam, because obviously in a race you can't just pull over. You're done if you do that, unless you're sandbagging your class or something. So that's why we use goggles on motocross helmets. It's really about the roost. If you had a system like the street bike helmets, where you've got this visor or shield that you can move up and down, once you pull that down, there is so much space inside of here. Like your mouth probably comes to right here. You'd be surprised how the dirt finds its way into your helmet. It's really kind of ridiculous. And so roost is a big problem with motocross, and that's why we use the goggle system. This would never work. It would never work really well for a long period of time. Eventually you'd get dirt in your eyes. It would happen. I've gotten it in my mouth before, believe it or not. That was when I realized apparently I ride with my mouth open. So, last but not least, let's talk about what these little knobs are here on the end. Okay, finally, the last difference between my motocross helmet and the street bike helmet would be tear-offs. Not that street bikes don't have tear-off systems, but they're generally rare. You don't see them in racing a lot, except for maybe like endurance races or bad weather races. The riders might put tear-offs on their visors over the street bike. Yeah, I just hit myself in the head with my helmet. That was awesome. So, but with motocross, pretty much every race, sometimes even in practice, if we had a lot of rain and it's kind of muddy out, I will run tear-offs. So what tear-offs are, it's going to be really hard to see on the camera, but let's see. You can see I've got 2 tear-offs stacked on top of the goggles, and so they're just, well, I'll go ahead and pull one off. So you have to be careful with how you stack these so that you don't pull all the tear-offs off. You can stack a whole bunch on top of each other, right? So as you get roost and dirt on your goggles and you want clear vision, you pull one, and then you've got a second one still on there. That didn't come off as cleanly as I had hoped. But you have to be careful how you stack these. So you fold these over, you put another one on top, and then as you pull one tear off, this end pops off, and then you've got this to pull off for the next tear off. And every time you get dirty, you just pull a tear off and you got clear vision again. So these are just really thin, clear plastic covers. I don't know what the material is. They feel like plastic. And you just pop these on pins here on the end, and then you've got another set right here. And then you've got one right here on the actual strap, the goggle strap. So you've got 2 holes right there, one right there. This is the one that goes on the strap. And then these 2 and these 2 go on the goggles. And so yeah, you get dirt on your goggles and you just reach up right-handed, or if you want to, if you're left-handed, whatever. I think I like to use my right hand because I don't have to worry about whiskey throttling. So a lot of people tend to like keep their throttle hand on the handlebar and pull these off with their left hand. I think most professionals I've seen pull tear-offs during races, they're pulling with their left hand. I'm afraid of getting into a whiskey throttle kind of situation where you go to grab a tear-off with your left hand, and then maybe most people will do it over jumps because that's a good place to rest when you're in the air, grab a tear-off. But if you happen to be grabbing a tear-off while you're on the ground and you've got one hand, your left hand, pulling a tear-off off of your goggles, your right hand's on your throttle, and you hit a bump, you're not gripping really good with your legs, that could move your body. All of a sudden, you're pulling with the handlebars because you got knocked backwards and my phone's about to fall. Hold still there, buddy, don't fall. You can inadvertently grab throttle when you didn't really mean to, right? That's in essence is a whiskey throttle. So I use my right hand. I figure if I'm in the air, on the ground, it doesn't really matter, and I don't have to worry about accidentally giving myself a little bit of gas when I didn't mean to. So I always line them up on the right hand side, pull a tear off, pull a tear off. But yeah, you got to be careful with how you stack them, because I have stacked them incorrectly, and I went to go grab one and I pull like 4 off, and then I'm screwed, right? I go with the whole rest of the race without any tear offs, and you don't want to do that. So I think that's it. Those are the big differences, right? We use a goggle system for motocross. You've got your visor, which you can use to deflect, tilt your head down and deflect roost. The motocross helmets tend to have a little bit more room around the mouth area, and they kind of have a more pointed design towards the front. And then no ventilation system. Typically they don't have vents on the top like the street bike helmet does here. You got a forehead vent, you've got the vents here for the top of your head, and then you've got a vent down here as well. So, and then you've got exhaust vents too. Motocross helmets don't have that. I think those are the big differences. So hopefully you guys found this interesting. Hopefully it was informative, and that's it, man. That's all I got. So we'll see you guys in the next video. Keep the rubber side down, and peace out.
That felt good.